Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my new video. Now this video is dedicated to picking the perfect palette. Okay, so this is a question I get asked all the time by my friends, by my family, by clients. I'm always getting asked, what palette do you recommend? How do I decide which one do I pick? It can be super overwhelming. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my top 5 beauty palette tips. Okay, I'm going to be sharing about brands, about how to shop, where to shop, and hopefully it's going to really make it easy for you guys to pick your perfect palette. Let's get into the video. Okay, so I have a couple of palettes here with me that I'm going to be showing you while I'm describing my top 5 tips. Okay. So like I said, picking a palette can be super intimidating. There's so many on the market. How do you know which one is for you? Now, the best way for me to describe it is really look at your palette, okay? Don't just go for the one that's on offer. Don't just go for the one that's the hit of the month. Especially if you guys are on a budget, really think about how you're gonna pick your palette because it's gonna last you for a long time. So you really wanna get the most out of it. So tip number 1, okay, is pick your budget. So like I was saying, palettes can be super expensive. Okay, you can get a palette for £2–3. Yes, you can. Is it gonna work? I don't think so. Okay, and then you can get a palette that's £100 plus. Lots of brands, you know, Pat McGrath, they charge a lot for their palettes, but you really are, like Weishart, their palettes are super expensive. For like a 9 quad, they're like, you know, nearly £70. Steep. Okay, so pick your budget, especially if you are shopping online. A good way to narrow down this huge palette market is if you're shopping online to decrease your price budget in the search bar. So you can do from £0 to £5, £0 to £20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. So if you narrow your search down to say your budget's £20, you're only going to be able to see the palettes that are in your budget. You're not going to be tempted. You're not going to be feeling horrible like, oh, I wish I could afford that one. It's going to make shopping a lot more fun. And if you're shopping in a store, in real life, it's really hard just to be bogged down and, you know, okay, I'll just take this one. Go for it. Okay, do your research, have a little look online at the stores that you have in your local shopping centres and check out the prices before you go shopping. Tip number 2. I have a little notepad. Check it out because I can just ramble. Okay. What brand best suits your personality? So maybe you guys have a ride or die brand, a brand that you always use, something that you're really passionate about, you know the brand suits you. It's really good to stick with that, okay? It's going to mean that the colors suit you, it's going to mean that the textures, the formulas, everything is going to suit your skin tone. So for me, you know I have a lot of favorite brands out there. Charlotte Tilbury is one of my favorite brands. I have some Urban Decay ones here as well, some Tarte that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. I just forgot to take one out actually that I was going to show you as well. So by picking your favorite brand, it also narrows down the search market, especially if you're shopping online. It makes it a lot less overwhelming and you can just say, right, I'm going straight to Urban Decay. I'm going to get myself a palette today. Okay. Then tip number 3 that I want to share with you guys is color scheme. This is probably the trickiest tip I'm going to share with you guys today. Okay. So you know yourselves when you see a palette, sometimes they have 4 colors, sometimes they have 40. Okay, so I recently had a makeup class and one of my clients, one of my girls, took in this palette by Smashbox. I think it was quite old, but it was not a palette I would buy personally because of the color scheme. All the colors were very dark. All the colors were very shimmery. Okay? So the way I like to describe it is you want to be able to look at a palette and say, right, what eye look can I create with this palette? does it have the shades that I need to create an entire eye look? Because I don't want to be taking a 4-pan or a 3-pan eyeshadow palette with me, and because it doesn't have all the colors that I need, I don't want to have to go and take another palette with me as well, okay? So I'm going to show you guys using the Tarte palette. I'm going to describe what I'm talking about because it is quite tricky to understand. So say we see this palette in the store, okay? Yes, we have gorgeous neutral colors, okay? So you picked your color scheme, you've decided you want to go for something nude. And what you have to do then, I'm trying to do it so it's not all shiny, is you have to look at your palette and say, how do I create my eye color? So you have a light shade, medium light, and these are both mattes. And then you have these four here. These four all together here are going to create a gorgeous all over base shade. So that's good. Okay, then we have deeper matte shades along here. They're really good for cutting the crease, for adding extra shade underneath the eye. And then I also have gorgeous shimmery shades like these ones here. They are gorgeous for filling in the corner of my eye. So what I'm looking for when I shop for an eyeshadow palette is at least 2 base colors, which we have here and here. I want deeper, darker matte shades so I can create a shape. And then I also like a few shimmers so that I can add that to the corner of my inner eye. So this palette is perfect for describing how to pick your color scheme. So if I had this eyeshadow pan and they were all, say, shimmery, I wouldn't buy it because I personally wouldn't create an entire eye look using just shimmer eyeshadows. Okay, so I'll show you again with another palette what I'm talking about. So here's one of the Kylie ones. Okay, so when we're picking this palette, see how we have our all over base shades here. We have our deeper, darker matte shades here. And then we have our shimmer shades here. Perfect. I can create an eye look using just this palette. The color schemes all complement each other. They're all this is the burgundy palette. So all the colors complement each other. So I know no matter what ratio I use these in, it's all going to work well together. That's what's good about going for a palette that doesn't have 101 different colors. Okay, it makes it a lot more wearable, a lot more easy to use. So when we take a naked palette from Urban Decay, a really simple way of looking at these, I can open it. Okay, so I can't really hold the mirror to block out that light. So when we're looking at our Urban Decay palettes, we have a mixture of mattes and a mixture of shimmers as well. But we also have great base shades. Here, we have really good darker shades to help darken up the shape of the eye. And then we have our gorgeous shimmers to add into the corners of the eye. Now when you're working with oh there we go, a really good tip, like looking at this, you've gone home, which color do I wear where, okay? So a really good thing to do is split it. There's a trio, there's a trio, there's a trio, and there's a trio. All those colors are going to work super well together, so it helps narrow it down a tiny bit. And the Naked Urban Decay palette is my #1 rule, with an exception. The brush that comes with it is fantastic. Any other brush you get with a palette, check it, it ain't good. Okay, so I hope that made a little bit of sense. Tip number 4, travel. Now, when you go on holiday, when you're going away for the weekend, things like that, you want to be able to just take one palette. I don't want to be able to take 2, 3, 4 palettes, okay? So I want to take a palette that I know is going to match a lot of my outfits. It's not going to counteract with some of the clothes that I've chosen. I want to be able to take one that, yes, comes with a brush, but I also want to take one that comes with a mirror. So like even my little Charlotte Tilbury one comes with a mirror. Now this is an example of a quad that's quite expensive. These come in at £39. It's very expensive, but they're so pigmented and so luxurious. It's worth it. And it comes with a mirror. So when I'm on holiday, this is also my compact, my travel mirror. So you've got to think about things like that when you're traveling with your palette. I wouldn't necessarily take my Kelly one because it doesn't have a mirror, but she later changed that and gave her palettes a mirror. You're getting a lot more bang for your buck if you are getting a palette with a mirror that is travel appropriate. Now, when you think about size, I'm not going to go taking my Morphe palette with me because it's far too big. So I want to take a palette that is a lot smaller that fits in my makeup bag, in my suitcase. So that's why something like the little Charlotte Tilbury one would work perfect for traveling. And then finally, my tip number 5 is contour palette and eyeshadow palette. Okay, it's my top tip to everybody, especially if you are on a budget as well. So if you really want to buy a palette, I really recommend buying a contour, blusher, highlighter palette. Something similar to this one by Becca, the Chrissy Teigen palette. I go on about this one all the time. So this is actually like essentially a face palette. Okay, so you have your bronzer, your blusher, and 2 highlighters here. Okay, I love taking this one on holiday because it has the gorgeous big mirror and it stands up. So I can use it while I'm applying my makeup. Okay, so this isn't only going to do me for my face, it's going to do my contour with this gorgeous bronze. It's going to add my blush and my highlight, but it also works as an eyeshadow palette. Okay, so I line my entire eye base shade with one of the highlighter shades. I cut my crease and add shape with the bronzer, and then I add some color with that pop of blush. So I'm getting a face palette and an eyeshadow palette in one. Okay, you've saved tons of money, it helps with travel, and it helps this gorgeous fluidity and continuity in the shading in the face as well. So you guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you really enjoyed it. I'm sure you still have tons of questions about picking the perfect eyeshadow palette, but I hope that my 5 tips have really helped and you guys are feeling confident now in going shopping for your perfect palette. Mwah!